Hello guys, how you doing? Welcome, I'm SimUK, and this is not the screen I was expecting to see. Bear with me for just one moment as so yes, apologies guys for this rather lumpy, clumpy introduction to the video, but my intention was to do a live stream for today on Fishing North Atlantic. Now, I say today rather loosely because I'm not actually supposed to be starting work until tomorrow, but the wife and the kids have gone out bowling because they've got a day off school. They have to go back to school tomorrow. And obviously we've got a lockdown coming, so they're trying to squeeze in a few extra days of fun. We just got back from a very nice, very long holiday, and I've been thinking long and hard about all the work I have to do, and I'm itching to get back at it. But today, well, I've just spent all day setting up. I'm going to show you now. I was going to keep it as a surprise, but I'll show you now. So I spent all day setting this up. So we now have a proper throttle and a wheel for fishing North Atlantic. Now, it wasn't as straightforward as I was expecting. In fact, it was an epic pain in the rectum. That being said, it does work. Now, I say it works rather loosely, again, because the way in which the game interprets the throttle input is almost like a digital input. So if I push forward even ever so slightly, it will continue accelerating at a very slow pace. That's what will happen. Rather than, say if I give it 5% of throttle, it won't stay at 5% throttle. It will just keep increasing to 100%, but very, very slowly. So they have already built the ability to read this exactly as it's positioned. So if I want 25% power, they could change a bit of code to incorporate that. But right now, that isn't how it works. Same with the wheel, similar problem. Now, I've just put a bit of WD-40 on this because it was getting a bit tight underneath, and I realised that we've cracked the base. So this wheel, which is probably about 15 years old, is probably very much on its last legs. This, of course, is the Thrustmaster TCA Airbus throttle, and it looks rather good, I think, for this particular game. It really suits it. I hope you agree with that. And it works pretty well. And I could, if I wanted to, incorporate all of these buttons to do things and stuff as well. But to be honest with you, the game doesn't really have enough button combos to support so many button options. So the reality is that we have got throttle on here and we have got steering on here. I've taken the pedals away, so they're not a problem anymore. And I've also been working very hard on creating a greater stream recording platform. So you'll see here that there's a whole bunch of stream stuff, and if I move the camera around from top left to top right, hopefully you'll see that that's animated. Everything should be smooth and clean and sweet, but whether or not it is a different question. And what's interesting is I set something up earlier code-wise for this, and it doesn't seem to be working. So see, that's one thing that I need to fix. And basically this is kind of a test, but other than being a test, I'm also very much looking forward to testing out the updates for Fishing North Atlantic. Now, I think it's official, and I think it's been official for a while. Missed games no longer have any time or avenue for me or my inputs. But what I find incredibly interesting... Sorry. Where is my... There it is. What I find incredibly interesting is that they have fixed so many of the problems that I have highlighted and have been highlighting to them for a long time. Now, I've already told you in a previous video, I sent them an email and said, please delay the release of your game. Don't release the game in this state. It's horrendous. Now, as it turns out, I was using a build that was a month older than the current build. But then in my review, it became very clear, and I highlighted in my review for this game, that if you buy it, you are going to have to put up with a bunch of bugs for quite a while. And I think I've been proven to be absolutely on the money. So why on earth they are annoyed with me, I don't know. I've done nothing but support them and be honest with them, which is more than most, let's be honest. But sonar now accurately represents fish probabilities. Now, this is something I've said before. There's no point in using sonar because it just didn't work. It was a pointless thing. It was an absolute waste of time. I've even dropped fish lines, 10 feet away from the dock in 25 foot of water and pulled swordfish out. I have proven over and over again that there are issues in the game, and they are fixing them, even if they're not listening to me, which is good, I suppose. Arrows added for history and depth. Don't really know what that means. Added tooltip for sonar values. That's fair enough. Crabs and lobsters are now always displayed at the bottom. I guess that was an issue. I never really saw it because I wasn't really paying attention to the sonar. Zoom level is saved and restored upon load. Now I'm assuming, although it doesn't actually say it, that this relates to the map. This is a bugbear that I had in Fishing Barents Sea, and I repeatedly asked for them to fix it. So I'm really hoping that the map will now stay zoomed where I leave it, because it is bloody annoying. Same with the sonar, everything really. When I set something, I want it kept that way until I change it. Let's hope they do more of this stuff. Sonar display is persistent across saving and loading, so yes, that's good. Fixed sonar getting stuck. Again, not paying attention to it, so I don't know. Sonar upgrades are properly taken into account. You don't see fish below a certain depth. Upgrade your sonar. Excellent, because previously you could see everything, and I honestly hated the sonar. There just seemed to be no point to its existence. They've adjusted the price on card. They've adjusted the net size on all boats. Okay, that's just like a quality of life fix, I guess. Adjusted the buoyancy on the Dexter and the Selfie. Now, I've got to say the Dexter, although I haven't really talked about it very much because I haven't unlocked it in my Let's Play, I have, like a lot of YouTubers, got access to 100 million if I want to, and I could just buy the biggest boat and just go and do stuff. But I'm trying to play the game properly. I did take the Dexter out for the review so that you could see that there were bigger boats in the game, and it was the bounciest bloody thing that I've ever seen. So I'm glad they fixed that. Never taken the Selfie out, but I guess it's the same. Adjusted name decal on the Scarlet, not a big problem. Adjusted throttle speed on the Moby D and the Ocean Runner. Now, the throttle speed was really laggy. If you saw in my last couple of videos, I was really struggling with it. It was an absolute nightmare. It sounds like they've discovered what that bug was and fixed it. That's good. Adjusted rescue service to not lose catch when being rescued. There we go. Another one of the highlights that I haven't heard any other YouTuber other than me bring up. Not that I watch many other YouTubers on this game, to be fair. Just occasionally when I'm trying to keep in the loop. In the last week, I've watched a few. But yeah, this is definitely something that's happened to me, and I'm glad they fixed that. Adjusted rescue service not to sell scrap if you lose your boat. Again, another thing that totally ruined my first Let's Play, which is good. Well, it's part of the reason that ruined my first Let's Play. Adjusted depth offset on boats should jump less after fast travel. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So when you fast travel, it kind of dropped the boat in from a height. Yes, I have seen that happen. I'm kind of glad they fixed that because it's not good. Added tooltip for gain options when starting new game. Added tooltip when picking up gear, which is too big for the boat. Now that's interesting. I've not seen that. I haven't even thought about testing that theory out, so that's kind of cool. I like that. Added new sonar upgrades for all boats. Added fish seasons in-game wiki. Thank goodness, at last. Added name tooltip when hovering over crew. Okay, I don't think that's particularly useful, to be honest with you. I care very little about my crew at the moment because I can't control them effortlessly. It's all a bit clunky still. Added tooltip when toggle stacking preparing snow crab pot. Great, I haven't got there yet. That's good to know. Clean up of tutorial steps regarding save games. Yeah, obviously a bug around. The whole tutorials were so broken. So many people, I got so many people emailing me and saying, oh, you don't know what you're doing. Like when I was trying to pull the lobsters in, you don't know what you're doing. You should do the tutorial. It's like, well, you should watch my videos because I did the tutorial and it totally crashed my game. And this doesn't work because it's broken. Not because I don't know how to do it, because it's broken. But anyway, so change cohesion of seagulls so they stick less together. Okay, and I didn't realise that was a problem, to be honest with you. Disable costs and time for crew transfer from distant ports. Now, that's interesting. That is interesting. So when a crew member is at a different port, like they've got off the boat or been kicked off the boat in one port and you're stationed at another, then they have to get to you. And that will take time and obviously cost a bit of extra money, I guess. I don't know. So that's really cool that they've done that. Because they've done that, I think they should really now think about doing the same for boats. So if I swap a boat in one port, sail to another one, and then decide to swap back, I shouldn't be able to just swap back because my boat is not at port B, it's still at port A. Now, I haven't said this to anyone before, but what I really, really like to see, what I would love to see, is, you know, that Sea Cat ferry that sails around from port to port? I mean, it's got a problem at the moment. It keeps floating up into the air and disappearing off. That's a bug I've been highlighted months ago and been talking about very infrequently because it's not a big deal. But if I wanted to get from port B to port A, I would love to be able to get on that Sea Cat, whether I could physically walk on there or whether I just sort of fast travel using it but pay for the privilege. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that implemented. Just a little idea there for the devs, but they're not listening to me anymore. So if you see that happen, then they must be watching me secretly without being courteous enough to say hello, I guess. Fixed random crash when leaving hauling area. Actually, yes, that has happened to me once. Hence random. That's good. Okay, nice to see that that's fixed. Fixed issue with lobster hatch when no mechanic is present. Right. I don't know exactly what that means, but I guess that's not a big problem. Fixed issue where lost fish alert was displaying the weight of total fish caught. Got you? Oh. Interesting. I didn't know that was happening. Fixed issue where nets would be damaged using crew. There you go. I've already made a video where I got so annoyed. I got about 5 or 6 people just telling me how thick I was, that I didn't know how to use the nets, and it really wound me up. And I made a video directed at them and nobody else, just saying, look, I've followed, I've taken your advice. I've proved that your advice is wrong. The nets were broken. And this proves it. Fix the issue where nets would be damaged using crew. And that was happening to me all of the time. It didn't matter how fast you pick up the nets. And I proved that because I picked all the nets up at 10 knots or faster. And I got full nets, half nets, and then damaged nets, damaged nets, damaged nets. And then all of a sudden, a couple of full ones and then a damaged one. It's just broken in the game. That's proof that that's what that was. I would like to see... These are the things I would like to see in a hardcore mode. If you go too fast when you're picking up the nets, then you damage the net. I have no problem with that. But it doesn't exist in the game at the moment. So there's no point in behaving appropriately because you get no benefit from it. Fixed an issue where prepared pots would influence sonar. That's interesting. Didn't know that. Fixed issue with loan time and interest calculation. Fixed issue with overall debt not properly shown. Fixed performance issue when selling massive loads of fish. Now, I don't think I've sold enough fish in one load to experience this problem, but when you've got the trawlers out, apparently it can hang for like 20-30 seconds or something. So I'm glad they fixed that before I got to it. Fixed issue with the Mickey showing the wrong rigging. That's interesting. I have experienced that, but until I read that, I didn't realise I had. Fixed issue with selfie that can hold a maximum of 8 nets and still set more. Right. In my last episode, I have proved that that has not... Well, I say has not been fixed. Maybe it is now, because I've been away for a week. But we took out the Ocean Runner and did exactly the same thing. So perhaps they're just not aware that the Ocean Runner also does this. Basically, if you want to test it out, if you set all of your nets, so say you get 40 nets on your boat and you set them all, if you go into fast travel and continue pressing the R button, your crew will continue putting nets out, even after you've done 40. So you'll have 44, 45 in the ocean, however many you want, really. Fixed an issue with unreachable crab pots using the crane. Okay, crab pots. So no, I haven't experienced that, but that's good to know that it's fixed. Fixed issue with statistics not updating during tutorial. Okay. Fixed issue with hauling empty crab pots. Hidden zoom buttons on sonar in first person. You've hidden the zoom buttons on sonar in first person. Why have they done that? How are you supposed to zoom now then? That's a bit odd. They've increased the circle size. No, they've increased circle for second net in tutorial. Okay, whatever. Increase the long lines on Ocean Runner, Falabulin. They now both hold 5,000 hooks. Excellent. So I was going to do some long lining to get a few extra quid in so that I can get my next boat. But I think we're going to try nets out today instead. Increase long lines on the Arctic Pioneer, Snarset, Vibeki C, the Moby D to hold 10,000 hooks. Cool. Increased crew members to 5 on the Vibeki Catherine. Increased snow crab pot holding capacity from 650 to 1,000 kilograms. I heard about that. That's good. Increased storage space on Dexter from 60 tons to 80 tons and reduce the price. Fair enough. Moved Cape Roseway Lighthouse Discoverable to correct location. Okay. Recalculate fish weight instead of quantity when combining fish. Removed old tree billboards around the map. Okay, don't know why. Well, I don't think I've even seen them. Tweaked lights on several boats to reduce flickering and added missing light sources. Perfect, because that's another thing I've been highlighting. Tweaked cruise speed when sorting crab and doing gutting, freezing and stacking. That's good. If they've done it the way that I hope they've done it, to make it more realistic, because at the moment, fully qualified, highly trained, very expensive crew basically have been doing as well as the cheap, useless ones. They might take longer, but the end result is the same, and there's not a huge difference between the two. So I hope they've made it a bit more important. Upgrade saved game system. Oh, that's interesting. Updated sea markers at Mollo in Lockport. Whatever. Updated all languages. Okay, so there are obviously a few linguistical issues. So yes, great. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this video up. What I'll do first is I'll just show you that this works. So there you go. There is proof that you can use a wheel and a throttle, or just a wheel with pedals. And if you set it up with a G29, then you could set it up so that the gear shifter was the throttle, if you so wanted. Now, if you look, if I bring it back to center, or bring it back to middle, you see that it doesn't do anything. What I have to do is go past middle, enough to activate it. There you go. You see it's very slowly coming back. And then I need to stop it by going into the middle myself. Right. Let's try and not sink my boat, if at all possible. And if I can, I'd like to get myself back in port. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to leave this video today as an example of using a throttle and a wheel. And you can do this with any throttle. You know, if there's a huge amount of interest in setting this up, because I haven't really seen any, to be honest, then I'll put together a tutorial on how I managed to do it. It's quite simple when you know how. It took me quite a few hours to get to that point, though. Now, this is the problem, is I've given myself a small amount of throttle, but actually it's gone all the way to full. So I would like to see that changed in time so that we can actually use the throttle more realistically. But I tell you what, this is so much more fun than just using an Xbox controller, which, by the way, I've only done once. And that was when I couldn't get it to work. Did I use an Xbox? No, I didn't. I've never used the Xbox controller. I was using a keyboard and mouse. I tell a lie. And this is way more fun than that. Way more fun than that. So you're kind of reliant on the sound of the engine. So I should be on slow. There we go. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they don't register what... Oh, Christ. They don't register... Oh, my God, we're going to hit that. No, we're not. I'm a good captain. Yeah, they don't register exactly where the throttles are, but to be fair to them, you know, I'm probably the first and I think the only person to have done this so far. So, you know, and they're not interested in talking to me, so unless you guys sort of show some interest, then I'm afraid this probably won't become a thing, which would be a terrible shame, I think, because hopefully you can see how awesome that is. I think it's awesome anyway. So lots of updates for me to test out and check and make footage using, and hopefully all those things that are fixed are fixed. So I'm going to say thank you so much. I'm going to do the whole outro thing. My next video is also going to be done like a live stream, although it won't be a live stream because I am still testing and just trying to make sure that everything is where it should be, so that you get the best quality videos that I can produce. Okay, well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And join me again straight away for the next one, when I'll actually take the boat out and we'll test the nets. And I hope, for once, they bloody well work, because I've spent a lot of time with these broken nets. I really have. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, goodbye.